Coming up next on BBC Two, it's the BradWOTO stream, but first, it's time for What Picture Has Bradley Drawn Onto a Piece of Paper?
Gentlemen, it's time for another fantastic edition of... Oh, maybe it's not time. The poll is broken. What do we do? I drew this. You all knew anyway, because Maya ruined it. I drew Donatello for Greg. For my friend Greg, because I saw an advert for that like mobile game that I kind of want to play. TMNT roguelike on Switch. Shut up.
Ninja Turtles are back on Nintendo Switch.
In their very first radical roguelike adventure, Leonardo, Raphael, Donatello, and Michelangelo
Wait a minute, says JJQ. That's not Donatello.
must travel through
JJ, what are
reality-bending
you doing
portals
here?
to rescue their kidnapped master, Splinter.
With each run, you'll fend off the totally
honestly,
bogus
it looks
Foot
dope as
Clan
shit. I want it
while
on Steam.
enhancing your abilities with power-ups.
Put it on
But
Steam.
no two runs are
Right
the
now.
same. Upgrade your turtle powers to grow stronger.
The voice though, you know. Who is that supposed to be? April.
Upgrade your appearance.
I swooshed my hair back today, so I have no hair. I haven't had a haircut. I just have no hair. We know, bro. Shut up. I put all my hair back. I have a new headband that I bought. I put all my hair back. And then remembered that I have to be on camera and it was too late. I destroyed myself. I had destroyed myself. It was too late. Release the Steam version. Do you not have a Switch? I feel like you have everything. You have everything. A wife, a child, a Nintendo Switch. Oh yeah, I was gonna look at this real quick as well. Here's the wheel spin for Sundays. I was gonna add a couple on there. A donut. Some people had some good suggestions. I got distracted here by it. Horace, are you in here? Horace wrote, I'm late, but Brad's reaction to Pirate Software Guy, yes, I follow him, is a feeling. He's like a walking, talking, yeah, but here's where you're wrong, dummy. Wasn't my opinion on him at all. Wasn't my opinion on him at all. This is what I don't understand about you people. Why do you watch this stream? Oh, spin for the enemy was the other one. Spin for the enemy. Probably red in it. Spin for companion. Was a good one. Yesterday I said that guy's really intelligent and good looking and good at everything. And Horace was like, yeah, I completely agree. He acts like he knows everything all of the time. Not what I said. I was complimenting the guy. What are you guys watching? A completely different stream, you know? You just take all the stuff that I'm saying and then translate it into whatever you want it to be. I could be like, I'm voting for Kamala Harris, and you guys would just go, oh, he's voting for Trump. Now, Shadow had some. Hi, Dave. Shadow sent me a message. A traveling merchant shows up. A merchant appears. It's got to be gold, isn't it? In the middle of a fight. Would be more of a change of encounter reward to spell friend or foe, where you'd roll first. What does that mean? Explain that one to me, Shadow. Number 3, I don't know how on the spot feasible it would be, but I'd call it the wild magic spike. Essentially, it would reduce the amount of subs needed for a spin by 1d3 or so. I can't do that. That's too difficult to... I have to change the whole thing. It's just annoying to do. Kinda is there now already? I don't. Alright. Resistance. Vulnerable. Instead of counter, you roll whether there is a friend or foe. Still don't know what it just wrote the same thing. Don't know what it means. What about reroll next success and reroll next failure? No. Come on, guys. You're just fucking ruining the game now. Okay, now we need to weight them. Spin for the enemy can be on 3. Spin for companion can be on 3. A merchant appearing can be on 1 because we don't want it to happen too often. Resistance and vulnerability can be on 4. No, 3. Done. Alright, we've added new things. If it lands on encounter, you roll if it's enemy or foe first. No, I don't know how to do that. Gain a new spell. No. Spells are already annoying and I wish that he wasn't a spellcaster. When Gary dies and we make a new campaign, he's going to be a fighter. I'm not. It takes 25 minutes. And no, being a spellcaster is too difficult. Too difficult, I said. Alright, there we go. Tune in on Sunday. We've got some new additions. You can suggest more in the Discord. Fuck. That'd be cool. On a 5 to 6, it's an ally. I mean, you're just... The thing is, you have to roll on an encounter, but... Think. You roll... It has to land on... The spin wheel has to land on encounter, and then we spin the wheel again to get it to land on friend or... Get the fuck out. You guys are pissing me off. This is why I don't let you guys do anything for the stream. At the moment, I'm like, hey guys, did you want to do some stuff and get involved in anything for the stream, and then I'm like, oh my god, they're all accountants. No one can think about logistics. Whack Steven. Whack Steven is the only other person on the planet who takes into account logistics when planning things. Because other people just go, it would be cool if you could jump into the sky and fly away really fast, and then when you landed on the ground, it makes the ground turn into acid. And you're like, but you know how much effort that will be to do? Think about actually how do you... Wax Steven's the only, I swear to God, the only other person on the planet that I've ever met where when you suggest something or you come up with something, actually takes into account the logistics of producing that thing to what you from what you have in your head to actually having it in front of you. I've never met another person in the world that does it. Whack Steven is the only one. Caster classes methods should all be private. Yeah, I wish he wasn't a caster. I was like trying to think of ways to streamline him into a druid that is non-spellcasting, so he still has wild shape, but maybe he but it's unbelievably impossible to do. I was also trying to think of ways to streamline the whole thing anyway. It's so unbelievably annoying to have so much to do on your turn. In this case only, when you have a lot to do on your turn in an actual game, it's the best because you have a lot to do and you have a lot of options and, you know, different ways to go around it. But when you're trying to just, because it takes so long for us to do one round for Gary, because it's just, because everything is a vote or a poll or a, you know, it's really difficult to get to sort of, you know, it's gonna, by the time, if he gets to like level 10 or something, it is going to take so long. But the spells, I think, are just very gatekeepy for anyone who comes in who doesn't know much about D&D. You sort of have to be expected to know what every single spell does, right? Because I'm not going to read them out every fucking time. So it's just, I don't like that, and I would rather him not be a spellcaster. So I wish there was some way to. I want, if I could go back in time, I would change that. That was a programmer joke. Oh, good. Yeah, no, you should definitely be doing programmer jokes to me because I will understand them, obviously. I don't know if you guys knew this about me, but very famously, I'm a programmer and I would understand programming jokes. Why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I understand that? I'm sort of tempted to watch the Welcome to Wrexham documentary. I don't care about football. I don't care about Ryan Reynolds. I don't care about Hugh Jackman, but I kind of want to watch that documentary. That's the joke. Alright. There he is. Whack Steven. Did you hear me talking about you, or have you only just appeared? Ad receives a Metal Gear Solid Codeco to the wheel. No. No, you're not. You guys are not in charge anymore. You guys suck so bad. What have you said about me this time? Nothing. Nothing bad. You can go back and watch it literally about 5 minutes ago, max 2 minutes ago. But basically the gist of it is that you are the only other person on the planet. I swear to God, the only other person I have ever met in my entire life who takes into account the logistics of doing something when someone suggests doing something or you think of doing something. You know? Oh, we should do this thing. And they have an idea in their head. And you're like, yeah, that would be cool. But do you know how to actually do that? What about all of the stuff that, you know, the idea you have in your head before that actually manifests into a physical thing or an event or some bullshit that you think would be cool? Have you taken into account the logistics of actually doing it, what it requires. No, you haven't. And you're going to start trying to do it and realize it's too difficult. And you're the only other person, I swear to God, the only other person I've ever met who immediately takes it into account when something is suggested or when you think of something. Because I have insane ideas all the time. Yeah, me too. And you try and achieve them and you're like, this is too difficult. And it's frustrating and disappointing. And other people get really annoyed with people like us. Because someone will be like, we should go to the dam and jump off of it and do parachuting and land in a boat. And then when we land in the boat, we have a party with margaritas. And then we take the boat to the edge of the world. And someone like me or Whack will go, well, that's a lot of effort. I mean, the thing is, you can't just get in a parachute because you need a license to be able to do that. Where are you going to get a boat from? You think you're just going to be able to land in a boat and then get a margarita and then drive that to the end of the world, the world's round. And then people get so pissed off with you. They're like, well, don't shut down the idea straight away, Mr. No Fun Pants. And you're like, it's not that I'm not having fun. It's just that you're going to get your hopes up for something. And honestly, it's not going to happen. People hate people like us. But also, then they'll try and do it and they'll fail. And you have to sit there and be like, yeah, I knew that 6 months ago. I'm glad you've sunk 40 grand into this project and 8 hours a day. Enjoy your debt. I don't know. I told you, but anyway, I swear to God, and I'm not even kidding. I know you sitting there, you are sitting there right now going, yeah, I'm like that too. You're not. And you're pissing me off. You're not, because in all my life I've only met one other person who does it. It's Wax Steven. He's the only other person I've ever seen it truly do it. I also hate I told you so. So I have to avoid that face when it happens. I know, yeah, it's hard not to do it, right? It's a bit like we were having a conversation last night. I have this about people where I'm like, that person's a piece of shit. And people will be like, oh, really? How do you know? I didn't know you knew them. And I'm like, I don't. I just met them. I just said hello to them, and that was the entire conversation. And now I've walked over here, and I'm telling you, that person over there is a piece of shit. Piece of shit. And they're like, why would you say that about them? And I'm like, I don't know how to explain it. I've got no evidence. I know it. Fully. I swear to you. I can sense it. It's the sixth sense I have. That person's a piece of shit. And they'll be like, oh, you're a piece of shit. You're the piece of shit. Well, I can't believe you would say that about them. They're so nice. They're the nicest person I've ever met. I really like that person. They've always been really nice and really good to me and really good to everyone that I've seen them be good to. And they give money to charity. And you're like, all right. And then you get demonized and everyone thinks you're a fucking prick. And 6 months later, they've done it. Something's happened. They're in jail. They're doing an apology video. They're doing, you know. And I'm like, see, I told you. And no one remembers. No one ever remembers me saying that about them. And I'm just like, have you ever been wrong? I don't think so. Do you mean just about this one thing or ever? No, with this thing, no. I don't think I have. Really. I think that I've got some that are unproved. Like they haven't been, you know, cancelled or something yet. I don't think I've ever been wrong. The ones that scare me the most, I've been wrong the other way around. For sure. The ones that scare me are the ones where I think they're a good person and they're bad. And I get tricked by them. Because that's annoying. Because I'm like, fuck, man. This is my only skill in life. My mind detector should have got them. But the mine went off. And now I'm hurt. Or my friends are hurt. Or someone, they did something bad. That, you know. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that you were a piece of shit. But it's my only thing. My mind detector didn't work. Not that it's ever prevented anything ever anyway, because I'm like, hey everyone, that person's a piece of shit. And they're like, you're a piece of shit for saying that about them. They're a really nice person. And I'm like, but here's the thing. How many times have I been proven right with this? How many times have I, admittedly, privately and quietly, because I'm not just going to start shit on the internet. Admittedly, privately and quietly, because I'm not just going to start shit on the internet. Told all of you, my close friends, that this person is a piece of shit. And it's come out 6 months later that they're a piece of shit. And none of you listened to me. And now there's people crying. So when I tell you this, maybe you should take that into account. And I'm telling you now, this person is a piece of shit. And they go, liar. And it's annoying. That's because you don't tell us who it is or we'd remember. I feel like I have done this a few times on stream, by the way. I feel like I've done it correctly a few times. I feel like I have actually called some random people out. But I'm more talking about people that I actually know. I'm not a huge fan of guessing that an actor is a piece of shit. Because the thing is, they probably are. It's like guessing if a politician's a piece of shit. They probably are. A CEO, they probably are. That's how you get there. You know, it's not like a crazy fucking guess. But I'm also not just gonna go, you know, here's my friendship group of 15 people. And I'm just gonna call out this sort of person who we all know. On a weird little whim. On Twitter, you know? What the fuck are you on about? Why would I ever do that? For your entertainment? With no evidence? It's insane. I'll just quietly whisper to Dave and be like, Dave, I think that person's a piece of shit. And Dave will go, okay. And 6 months later, piece of shit. I'm telling you right now. Talking about piece of shit, hello, finally caught the stream. So what's going on? Are you in South Africa? I thought you were in like fucking, I don't know, Western Supermare. I thought you were in some fucking Eastern Bloc place. You are in Ukraine, okay. Because I was talking to August the other day, and I was like, I'm pretty sure Palomar Tupac's in the Ukraine. And he said he's in South Africa. And I was like, he's not. He's in Eastern European country, definitely. Okay. That's why you trust yourself when you think you know something. Don't listen to an idiot on the internet called Orkish. Yeah, I thought so. So what's going on? They're having to do power outages now in the Ukraine. Damn, that's annoying. It's a crazy amount as well. Let me pull up the thing that you sent the other day. Where is it? Did you delete it? You deleted it, didn't you, son of a bitch? Ukraine power outages. Scheduled power outages. Oh, I don't know how to find it. This is impossible. It was very useful, the thing that you deleted in like in a panic. It's different every day. Well, I'm not looking for accurate times. I just want to show it as a visual aid. God, I'm sick of all of you. I'm sick to death of every single one of you. With the fucking specificism and the pedantry. It's just I just want a general fucking thing. And whatever, they're fucking cutting the power out all day in Ukraine and it's fucking awful. So why are they doing that though? He's almost back. I'm feeling frustrated this last few days. It's because I'm becoming conscious again. But because my conscious brain is online, able to actually think about stuff. But I don't have the spoons yet to do enough stuff in a day. So I'm frustrated because I can't get enough stuff done, but I'm online enough. My brain is awake enough to be able to think about how I'm not getting enough stuff done. Making me crazy. Russians destroyed the power plant. Well, I knew it was something to do with Russia. I just didn't know. So they destroyed the power plants, man. And you can't borrow power from another country. I guess it just doesn't work like that. City skylines. Oh, man, that's so annoying, man. I think the UK, one of the first things that our new leadership party did was dedicate a bunch of money to Ukraine, which was good to hear. Like, finally. Just go like, look, here you go. And your president is called Putin, right? In the Ukraine. Prime Minister Putin. President. He's gone, isn't he? Biden. He's done. They packed him in. Insane that they didn't. That he even was. It's insane he's alive. I've never seen a more old and decrepit man who clearly cannot think. You cannot tell me. There has to be an age cap on the top side of things from now on, I think, in the USA. Because they've got one on the... You have to be like 50, right? Before you can even run for president or something crazy like that. How old do you have to be? There has to be one on the fucking low side. 34. There has to be an old one, I mean. It's got to be like... What's the retirement age? 65. Both Biden and Trump are older than Clinton, and Clinton was president 30 years ago. He also seems to be cognitively okay. Just make him president again. If we're gonna just make an old president again, might as well just make him president again. He actually seems to be able to fucking string a sentence together, which is either an actual sentence or isn't entirely devoted to producing his own narcissistic outcome. Do you want a narcissist who is exclusively just out for himself and wants the glory of being president? Or do you want a corpse? Just a fucking dead, just a corpse draped over the fucking desk in the Oval Office. The days when the biggest scandal was lying about getting a blowy. I know, and he was like banging he was doing the work though, you know? It makes you just be like, oh, fucking give him, let him have a blowjob and give him the job. Because this is insane. I mean, I know that the president's office isn't actually run by the president anyway. He doesn't really do anything. It's just the entire cabinet, right? And the group of them, and it doesn't really matter that much anymore, but guys, it's so embarrassing to witness. It's so scary. It's like the fucking boys or something. You're like watching this thing like, God. We're not even in House of Cards territory anymore. You know, or the thick of it or something, or Veep. It's just straight up. It's beyond that. It's cartoonish. It's the boys. It was like something from Vought. You're watching these fucking... The fucking thing where the two of them were singing. Love lift us up where we belong. Which, by the way, if you watch the whole clip of that, is so hard to watch. They did such a good job of acting that out. From the boys where the Deep and Firecracker are singing that song. And it's only a few seconds in the show, in the episode, but there's a version of it that is the whole thing. The acting is so good. It's so cringe. It feels so realistic. It's so hard to watch. Loved it. They smashed that. They made it so real. It's fucking hard to watch because it just feels real. It's so cringe. Ooh. So close to the boys they had to change their last episode name, yeah. Frankly, I would vote for a potato over Trump. So yes, a corpse. Biden's advisor, whoever is a better option. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Obviously, in terms of party-wise, you've got to go for the one that's closer to the left. I don't know if you're, from what I understand, it's not too dissimilar to this country in that your major left-leaning party is still basically, it's just left of the right. But you can't, Trump and that lot, and the shit that they fucking just so awful. Just anti-gay, anti-immigration, and yeah, just so fucking awful pro-Christian type stuff. And you're just like, God, Stone Age shit, boomer shit. It's so horrible to witness. At least in this country, I mean, it's the same in terms of social conservatism, but I feel like at least the conservatives in this country are slightly less bothered about some of that social stuff and just more bothered about putting money in their own pockets. They've just crippled our economy and that's it. But in America, it feels like they put so much effort into the social stuff as well that it's just so horrible to witness the racism and the, you know, like gay rights and LGBTQ stuff. It's just like, God. They're going to be rounding up drag queens, you know, in internment camps. Like, get them out of power quick. It's getting scary. We have to be on the... it's so hard not to feel like we're on the edge of like world collapse. But I'm still pretty convinced that the world has always been like this at its core. We're just much more aware of it because of social media and everyone has a phone and a camera in their pocket, and we're so much closer to our celebrities and politicians because they're tweeting shit all day, you know, and you're just like, oh, is that President fucking Clinton's cock? Oh, okay. If President Clinton was president right now, he would have released the video on OnlyFans of him and that fucking woman, Monica Lewinsky. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the difference. It's just a very slow apocalypse. I think it feels like that, but I think the world has kind of always been this way. We're just aware of it. You're aware of everything. You're aware of every single fucking thing going on now. You can't escape it because you just look at your phone and you're being told everything. I've massively reduced my time on my phone, especially at night. I don't even get Discord notifications on my phone anymore. I check it myself. I actively go to the app to open it rather than it. You know, notifications, clicking its fingers at me and me seeing my phone light up and going to the phone. I go to my phone and I open the app and I choose when to check the apps that I want to check. And it has already made my life so much better. It's a little bit sad and a little bit disheartening that we get to this point where we have to close ourselves off from that kind of thing, and you have to find ways to it's almost like reducing how much news you can take in, you know, and you're in a way you're becoming more uninformed because there's so much fat around the information. You want this little morsel of information and there's just this fucking chunk of fat around that little morsel of meat that you're after. And that chunk of fat just fucking spins me out so badly that I struggle to even get the information that I want now. But it's the world we live in and I'm too mentally ill to deal with this. I don't have the strength to fucking live in this world. So I can't. So I've reduced a lot of that kind of intake. Somehow we made the apocalypse boring. I think it was always going to go out like this, though. A lot of people think the apocalypse is going to be this Hollywood thing where a fucking nuclear war happens or a meteor impacts. But actually, it's just going to be this slow suffocation of the planet through global warming and corruption and the collapse of economy and society through our own slow self-strangulation and greed from predominantly the people who run the world, because that's how you become somebody who runs the world. You have to become greedy, and that structure is Just absolutely devastating for anyone who isn't that type of type A personality. Welcome to the stream, everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful week so far. We're 12 hours into the week. I decided not to take my medication today. Did not sleep again. I don't know why I'm not sleeping the last couple of nights. I'm really struggling to fall asleep. And it is freaking me out because I'm running out of sleeping pills. And I really need them for extreme situations. And I've only got a limited amount of them. And woke up really early. My ear was hurting really badly. Completely, truly believed it was some sort of ear cancer. And then got up, did some stretches, did a tiny little workout. Went for a walk with Liam. It looked like it was going to rain the whole time we were out there. It was just spitting. I've got a lot of stuff I need to work on for Cura today and tomorrow. And it's just, I've been putting it off for a month because I haven't had the brain power to be able to do it, but I've run out of time. I've run out of time, so I'm going to try and get a couple of hours of that knocked in today. I think I'm probably going to take tomorrow off again. Just to try and be kind of mentally ready for that. And then hopefully I feel like I'm sort of improving to the point where I can get back onto the actual schedule of the week of streams. I think I'm going to start Mass Effect up on Wednesday, by the way. We're going to get back into Mass Effect 2 on Wednesday. I didn't want to do it today because I kind of decided I'm probably going to have to take tomorrow off. Which means, like, you know, I'm taking tomorrow off. What are we going to do today? I don't want to start Mass Effect and then do nothing. Come on. Tough it out, sunshine. What do you want? What are you saying? Tough out what? She's not even got the stream. The stream's muted. She just went into the chat room and wrote that. Your mental illness? Oh, right. Well, yeah. I mean, that's what I have been doing for 30 years. I can't wait for 10 years from now where Leah is old and broken. She's at this level. And she's like, oh, it's too difficult. I can't do it anymore. I'm like, look. You remember when you would come in and fucking rip the piss out of me for it? It's hard, isn't it? It gets harder the older you get. That fucking Bojack statement was bullshit. My nose is so itchy today. You all think I've been doing cocaine. I wish. I've been playing the Deep Rock Galactic Survivor. Loving it. What's the next closest one to those? Everyone keeps saying BradWOTO, but I don't like games that look like BradWOTO looks. So, and then someone else said the other one about the guns. But then they said it's just a boring version of BradWOTO, and that annoys me. Now I don't want to play either of them. You've ruined them both. Do you know what episode of Critical Role you are on? I'm not telling you because you asked. And I've got a problem with authority. It's like that thing that people have where like you're gonna go and do the washing up and then someone says, hey, can you do the washing up? And now you don't want to do it. What's that called? I have that. And it's really frustrating because it just basically means hey, be an asshole for no reason right now. My brain goes, you know what? Make it look like you're a complete asshole to everyone around you. You don't feel like that on the inside, but everyone thinks you're a fucking prick now. And I don't. And why? Why do I have to be like this? Oppositional defiance. Is that what it's called? God, it's so annoying. Pathological demand avoidance. Oppositional defiance. If someone asks me to do something, or tells me to do something, or asks me a question, I want to be a child that is like, I'm not telling you. And I hate it. It's just like, you have to be an asshole. Maybe it's self-destructive. Maybe it is self-destructive. I'm looking at games. I bought Enter the Gungeon and Exit the Gungeon. Lux told me that it's only £3, and people said that it was good. It's another one that I'm not too sure. I like to reframe it, add personal desire of autonomy. You really fucked that up, that sentence. Why do you want to know what episode of Critical Role I'm on? I don't want to tell you because I don't know what you're doing with the information. I don't trust anyone anymore. What are you doing with that information? I don't like it. You weird little stalkery freaks who want to ask me these little specific questions. Some of you are fucking weird as shit. You don't even realize it. Someone will be like, what episode of Critical Role are you on? And you're like, oh, I'm on episode 52. And then they click play because they want to pretend like they're watching it with you, and then you find out that like actually they've been telling people that they're your girlfriend, and you're like, what the fuck? So because that's happened to me literally 3 times on the internet at this point, I just don't. It's ruined having a healthy relationship with anyone else ever again on the internet. Haha, no, I'm not. I ain't watching all that again. They're in Jorhas, that's what's happening. They just did a bar fight. There was a really good episode where Chris Perkins showed up for 5 minutes and died, and it was hilarious. That's where I'm at. That's where they're in Jorhas, and they're doing they're doing a fight. 11 days. The difference is you don't have to pretend to be his girlfriend. We can get married if you wanted right now. I watched this thing yesterday. This is completely off. I don't know if I saved it actually. I went somewhere else with the thoughts about this. No. It was like a video of a podcast. I don't know who it was that the podcast was, but the guy was like basically saying, you know what, I don't want to talk about it. I went all the way around the world on that one. I went all the way. I was like, oh, what was they trying to say? I can't really remember, but also, if I actually start talking about this, they're going to, and then they're actually probably going to judge me if I, what if I, actually, they're probably going to think there's something. If I talk about it right now, I'm going to get pulled into this whole conversation about this whole thing, and they're going to give me loads of opinions about it that I don't want to know. I don't want to hear their opinions on this thing, and then I ended it. That's actually what did it. It wasn't that I forgot it, I remember it. I'll talk to you about it, Dave, if you want later on. But what I don't want to hear is anyone else talk about it. It was one of those things where I know that if I start talking about it, you're going to start typing some dog shit opinions in the chat room, not Dave, but the rest of you. And then I'd get pissed off and I just haven't got the energy to deal with the internet's opinions today. Because of the way we started the stream. I started the stream with like, hey guys, what are some good things that we can put on that wheel spin for D&D? And there were like 3 really good ones, and then some people started writing things that wound me up. And I went, oh, my tolerance for the internet is at an all-time low today, and I'm not about it. We're gonna try and keep the we're gonna keep the stream. We're gonna talk about cheese. The world's biggest cheese. We're going to talk about cheese. That's a 2-hour video. The most expensive cheese? Watch Mojo, what is this?
The top 10 most expensive cheeses in the world.
Leah.
Welcome to alux.com, the place where future
This
billionaires
is an AI voice.
come to get inspired.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Hello, Aluxers. Today
Hi.
we're talking about the most exotic,
Oh, the voiceover is freaking me out. I feel so weird.
tasty, and of course, most expensive cheeses in the world. Everyone is
It's so
familiar
weird. He sounds like you know, in anime. He sounds like an anime character doing a. There's always a character in anime that's like the slightly older, more wise, but like kind of standoffish female character.
with cheese. It's a common ingredient in most meals.
Think about it. Close your eyes. That sounds like an anime character.
Everyone knows the common cheeses such as American, provolone, and Swiss, but there's an entire world out there of cheese that's judged on several traits.
I can't hear a word she's saying. I don't know what she's talking about because all I can hear is the way she's delivering it. Dude, am I freaking out? What's happening here? This is the weirdest voiceover I've ever heard in my entire life. I mean, it spun me out immediately because they were like, welcome to alux.com, the place where billionaires come before they're billionaires, or whatever it was. The fucking... It's so confusing. She sounds, yeah, so weird.
The top 10 most expensive cheeses in the world.
The top 10 most expensive cheeses in the world. Why is she saying it like that?
Welcome to alux.com, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired.
Unnecessary. And confusing. Top 10 cheeses in the world. What's it got to do with being a future billionaire? What's this video got to do?
Hello, Aluxers.
Hi.
Today we're talking about the most exotic, tasty, and of course, most expensive cheeses in the world. Everyone is familiar with cheese. It's a common ingredient in most meals. Everyone knows the common cheeses such as American, provolone, and Swiss. But there's an entire world out there of cheese that's judged on several traits, including taste, aroma, and even aesthetic appearance. There are even gourmet cheese judges and competitions that rank cheeses by even more criteria. Although cheese is appreciated the world over, France perhaps will always...
I'm having to concentrate so hard. This is a real person that did this voiceover. It's not going to tell me, is it? Gods be damned.
remain the home of the best gourmet cheeses. So if you want to live the good life, it's time to start planning a trip. If you're new here, welcome. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on Instagram at Alux. Now, let's just dive in. Be sure to it's time to start planning a trip.
When they say subscribe,
if you're new
the
here,
subscribe button lights
welcome.
up.
Be sure to subscribe and follow us on Instagram at Alux. Now, let's just dive in, shall we, and discover a bit.
Hey, Brad. Yeah, you're a loser. Okay. Well, all I wanted to know was about cheese, but I can't watch that video. Can't be watching that fucking video, dude. London's moldiest cheese.
Then you go through it, and you can clearly see that the inside is gray. That's the blue brain.
A brain.
the white mold is not exactly telling you, eat me, eat me. You look at it and you're like, oh my god, what is that? That's crazy. But the first one, the very fresh one would...
What can you compare this to, the taste?
Nothing else really, it's just quite unique on its own.
In Borough Market. Yeah. Liam loves Borough Market, dude.
Am I allowed
He goes there every day. To be honest, I like walking around Borough Market as well, I'm not gonna lie.
Maybe we can have more people coming. Done good animation in London.
I see the little fuzzies.
It's
Do
the
you
kind
eat
of
them
cheese
all?
that needs a lot of communication. People coming in, they would say, "Oh, it's disgusting. Look at that." Then you explain that it's
do you
not
cut the cheese
actually
out from inside the
being
mold?
rotten in the fridge for some time, but it's edible, and we want it to be like this, and it's our specialty. Once people get a chance to try it, it's a hit.
Blue cheese and all that. I can't be doing it. I can't be doing that. I feel kind of unwell right now. I've been watching so many like videos about breathing methods and meditative methods for sleep and stuff, but so many ASMR videos come up as well. I hate ASMR. Get it away from me, it freaks me out. I don't like it. Like you'll be like, oh, just nice droning noises for sleeping. You're like, okay, yeah, I'll put that on. Hi, welcome to the... Oh, fuck off. Shut the fuck up. There's one that I've been listening to where she talks for the whole thing. It's like a 30-minute one. I call it water breathing. She's talking for the whole thing. It's not my favorite video. It's not a video. Well, it is, but I ripped it. But, you know, she just talks you through breathing. There's certain breathing techniques that she does. And I was like, that's a good one. And then in the background, there's a little bit of like tonal noise and waves crashing noise, right? And it's a good one. And I use it to help me fall asleep sometimes. And as I'm falling asleep, and she talks less. The last 10 minutes of the video, she doesn't talk very much. But at one point, she just starts whispering. As you're falling asleep, and as you're like, you know, you got nothing but the drone and the waves, and you've done 20 minutes of breathing with her sort of guided breathing, talking you through it, and then she shuts up for absolutely ages, and then at one point she just goes, and now fall into a restful sleep, or something like that, and it fucking jump scares me so bad every time, wakes me all the way up. Yes. I'm going to go in and edit it out. I've been doing better with meditation. I've never been good at breathing and meditation and those kinds of techniques, but I've found them to be very beneficial for the last month because I've been fucking dying since I think a full month now of just death. Some form of death. It's been horrible. It's been some of the most horrible time of my life. And in that time, I've learned. Well, I just found the breathing stuff was so much more effective. In other parts of my life and other times in my life when I've gone through shit, I've never been very good at meditation. I think I'm a little too, my OCD, worry brain, maybe a little spattering of ADHD in there. It is too difficult to shut that off to be able to get in tune with my senses and my feelings and my body, which is required for that kind of meditation. It's like trying to meditation with the sort of OCD, worry, rumination, and particular intrusive thoughts and ADHD. It's like doing meditation on hard mode. Some people can just sit down and they can get in tune with their body and they can turn off those thoughts and they can, it takes a moment, but they get there. And I can do it as well, but it is so much more difficult because it's just, my brain will not shut the fuck up. But for some reason, I found it to be very effective this month in battling whatever's going on with my body. I think because it's a lot of physical symptoms, so just sitting and breathing and getting in touch with the senses and the feelings in my body isn't as bad because it's not been as much of a mental game as it usually is for me. It's more of a physical thing. So I've actually gotten better at breathing. I've been doing a lot of breathing techniques. I've been doing progressive muscle relaxation and meditation and yoga nidra. And me and Liam were talking about this earlier on, but like I kind of want to. What I got to do is keep doing it. I will steadily over the next couple of weeks start to feel better and better and better. And instead of continuing to do these breathing techniques and continuing to do this progressive muscle stuff and the yoga nidra and the stretching and all the stuff I've been doing that has been keeping me afloat, I'm going to just start eating ice cream. Because I'll be like, oh, I'm better now. And then I'll feel worse and awake. So I need to figure out a way to keep doing it. Because I think if I keep doing these breathing techniques and keep doing these meditation things and keep staying in touch with my body and my senses and learning how to do it, I will actually be able to develop it into a skill. But fuck, man. Do you ever watched Dr. K videos? No, I have no idea what that is. And I'm gonna guess not going to help me in any way whatsoever. That's my guess up front. Dr. K. Oh, this guy, the one that interviews all the fucking YouTubers. Right? Yeah, I've seen him. I don't know what. I don't know what his deal is. No. I mean, his videos are 3 hours long. I'm 34 and still can't find motivation and purpose. My problem in life right now is purpose. I have no purpose to exist, and I don't care anymore. A perfectly great state of mind to be in. It is pointless. My existence is entirely pointless, and there is no reason for me to get up in the morning and do anything. I've got nothing. And it is really annoying because I'm trying to I'm just existing for the sake of existing, which is a fucking thin rope to be walking along, right? Little tight rope up in the sky. Little fucking tightrope of floss. I literally just get up because I'm still here. I have no reason to get up. I have no motivation to do anything. I don't have kids. I don't have a dog. I don't have a wife. I don't have family that rely on me for anything. I don't have anyone who's dependent on me for anything other than me. I'm not motivated to do anything for me because why would I? That's the point. That's the loop I'm in. You know, I can find sort of small moments of joy to leap between. Play PUBG, have a laugh, watch a TV show, play Deep Rock Galactic. But like none of it means anything. There's no reason for any of it. You know, I've got no legacy that I'm building. I don't care what I leave behind. You know, I've been working on some stuff for Table Story. You know, maybe Table Story blows up, becomes the biggest fucking D&D thing in the whole world. It still wouldn't. It doesn't mean anything. Material, irrelevant. The sun's gonna blow up. So I have absolutely zero meaning in life. There is no meaning to life for me at all at this point. And I have no purpose in existing. And it is an underlying tectonic plate that is forever rumbling under every single thing I do. And every now and then it crashes into another tectonic plate and I have to have a full-blown panic attack about it. It's all pointless. Everything is fucking pointless. And there's no reason to continue other than you're just still here. Oh, took another breath. And that shit is my main problem, I think, now. And consolidating that and figuring out how to look at that sort of existential, borderline nihilistic take and going, well, what would give your life purpose then? Is the way around it, but I just don't have any. I don't have any. I guess I don't have any strong will that sits in opposition to that, really. My views are largely similar. I find it the most liberating thing ever. How old are you, Shadow? Because I used to have that when I was younger, literally only a few years ago, 10 years ago, 10 years ago. I found it liberating as well. I found it to be very freeing to just be like, well, nothing means anything, so eat a burger and watch House of the Dragon, and that's enough for today. Did you enjoy today? Yeah. Did you do anything today? No. Was there any meaning to any of it? Did you enrich your life, others' lives around you? No. I ate some ice cream and watched House of the Dragon. I didn't feel bad, but that was fine. That's enough. But I'm finding that I guess it isn't enough. I guess it just isn't enough. And so it's becoming, at the moment, I'm just treading water and keeping myself busy for the most part. Because what else is there to do, really? You're younger. This is why people turn to religion. I think it staves off this existential dread so much. To just be able to believe in a higher power or a higher purpose, or that there's some meaning to all of this, or that there's something at the end of this road, all of this effort. You're digging down in Minecraft, down and down and down and down. There will be some diamonds down there eventually. But when you don't have that full sense of security, It's so pointless. It's such a waste of fucking time. Everything's a waste of time. But if everything's a waste of time, nothing's a waste of time. I just have to convince my subconscious of that. My logical brain understands that it doesn't matter. There is no meaning in anything. It doesn't matter whether you've got fucking kids, or if you've got a wife, or if you are alone and you're watching House of the Dragon and eating ice cream. It all amounts to the same thing. If you've got a company, if you enjoy your work, if you know, whatever, you're creating stuff, whatever it all is, none of it means anything, because one day you're going to die and that's it. And so who gives a shit? But I have to convince my subconscious of it, because my subconscious is like just desperate to achieve something. I don't know what it is. It's really annoying. The subconscious needs more from this experience, and I'm running out of time because I'm getting older, and I'm looking at my fucking life, and I'm looking at how much time I've got left. You know, I don't know how much time I've got left, but people start dying at 40, dude. People start dropping off here and there. Could happen any day now. When you're younger, you're invincible. You're fucking Wolverine, dude. You don't give a shit. You're gonna live forever. You have no concept of age and life and purpose. When you start to see over that ridge, your body starts slowing down a bit. Blah blah blah, dead at 41. Blah blah blah, dead at 52. Blah blah blah, dead at 60. You're like, well, that's not too far away. That could be me. And what do I have to show for all of this? Absolutely nothing. Did I enjoy my time here? No. Did I do anything of worth? No. Do I feel fulfilled in any capacity, at any point, and in any way with the years that I've spent, the days and days and days and hours and hours and hours that I've spent here? No. Okay. Then what would fulfill that? How would you, what do you need to do to achieve yeses to those answers? I've got no idea. So that's where I'm at mentally. It's becoming such a fucking huge issue, I think, for my brain. It used to be that I would just like bounce around and bum doing stuff and that would be fine, but now I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? What's anyone doing? Oh, did you enjoy that? You enjoyed House of the Dragon? You had some ice cream? I've had ice cream before. I've seen TV shows before. Nothing brings me joy. And I'm running out of time. And I'm tired. I'm scared. The moments themselves matter. No, they don't. And what you can draw from them. What am I going to draw from these moments? Eating ice cream and watching House of the Dragon. Kurt Vonnegut said, humans are on Earth to fart around. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. I've not let anyone tell me otherwise. It's my subconscious that's screaming at me all day. This isn't someone else's opinion, it's mine. You feel you're not at the level of your potential. Yeah, no. The beginning of the race was this. On your marks, and everyone, me and all the other people that were born on the same day at the same minute as me. Get set. Me and all the other people born on the same day, in the same minute, at the same second as me. All lined up. Go! And then my dad, from the stands, went like this. Picked up a brick. And I went, and I started running, and then this brick fucking done my ankle. Ah, fucking hell. Run, run, run. Oh, fuck. Oh, fucking shit. Oh. I have never and will never reach my potential. I was hobbled immediately. So now my race has always just been like, can I fucking stay ahead of the wall, the PUBG wall, with my fucking hobbled ankle. Alright, I fixed that, dealt with that one. Another fucking, a spear went through my leg from my mum. Oh, fucking Christ. I'm running, okay. Pulled the spear out, the PUBG wall's behind me. I've wrapped that up, I've wrapped it up. Okay, yeah, we're good, we're bleeding out. No, we're good, okay. Alright, let's go. Wife, the ex-wife. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ, you stabbed me with a fucking kitchen knife. Oh, Jesus. Okay, I've got it. Bleeding out. Alright, it's all good. Okay, let's go. Oh, you've been fired. Oh, Jesus Christ, my arm. Oh, Christ, my arm's fallen off. Keep going. PUBG wall. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, let's go. The dog's dead. What do you mean the dog's dead? Ah, the wall's got you. Keep going. Reach my potential. I haven't fucking caught my breath. I didn't even start the race. My potential fucking 10 miles ahead of me. Achieve anything of my potential. I couldn't be further away from it. How anyone achieves their potential who isn't a full-blown fucking psychopath, I don't know. Life has just been one fucking bullshit struggle. Not bad enough to completely just send me either just fully insane or just fucking put a bullet in my brain. You know? And just fucking end it. But on the cusp of that. But bad enough to ruin everything that I've ever done or tried. Just a poison. Broadening the imagination can give meaning to one's actions, or at least help survive for another day. No, my imagination is fucking killing me. My imagination is half of the problem. My imagination won't shut the fuck up. I'm so creative. My creative energy isn't being put towards coming up with a brand new fucking D&D campaign. It's coming up with different ways that I'm gonna die. It's coming up with what the fuck is gonna happen next week. Oh, you're worried about this thing. Let's create the worst possible scenario of every thought you ever fucking have. My imagination is brilliant. I'm so creative. I'm so good at coming up with stuff. Oh, he's so inventive. Oh, he's really good at writing things. Oh, he wrote this fucking campaign for this thing. He improv this whole scene with some magic, but also my brain is constantly improving the fucking worst case scenario of every tiny little niggling fucking bullshit little intrusive thought I have, creating the worst catastrophe that you could imagine to come out of it. My imagination can fuck off. I want to be a psychopath. I just want to be a fucking sociopath who doesn't care about anything other than some sort of legacy. Just leaving this earth, having expended every single element of it, done everything, beat everyone, won. I beat and won D&D and life. Who really does anything of worth? Exactly. That's the problem. The problem is the answer to all of these questions is another question, which is, you know, I have no purpose in life. Well, what is a purpose in life? I don't know. I can't define it because it's indefinable. It's irrelevant. In fact, none of it matters. Eat the ice cream. Watch House of the Dragon. Did you enjoy yourself? Great. Do something else. Annoying me, man. I'm bored as well. I'm bored of being this way. It's all good for the first 20. For the first 20 you can You're like, oh, it'll get better. I'll figure this out, or I'll do that, or you've still got energy. But moving into this next 20. Paul Patrick Bateman is the answer. Do you like Huey Lewis and our news? Anyway, thanks for the gift sub.
Whack Steven.
I'm gonna watch House of the Dragon after this.
Hello and welcome to More Tools and Sense, the show where I have proficiency with all tool usage, but I do get disadvantage on all of my wisdom saving throws. Today we'll be building the ultimate tabletop gaming table.
Is there just a TV in there? Back is like, I just started playing Midnight Suns.
Really gotten into playing
That put
Dungeons
off
and Dragons.
the PUBG
And
wall
when you
for
play
one
the
more
game,
day.
You need a nice big clean table. I didn't feel like making furniture, so I just bought a table. But this table is definitely not good enough. So we're gonna make some improvements. Well, of course, first thing we need are visual aids. So we're gonna take this 55-inch TV, we're gonna place it down inside the table, and then we wanna have it nice and smooth and flat, where we'll put a piece of glass to cover it and protect it, and then also make sure that the glass and the wood are perfectly flush with each other. Well, like most kitchen tables, this one has removable leaves, and these slides that keep the table together, of course, cannot exist here if there is a TV monitor in the center. So what we're going to do is convert it back to basically a regular table, a solid table, and we're going to take these sliders and use this wood to reinforce the sideboards, which should be the strongest part of the table in a normal table. And then hopefully from there it'll be strong enough that we can get back to work. Well, I was originally just going to kind of scab this together.
Imagine having enough money to not
leftover
panic
pieces from
drilling
the
a
sliders,
hole into a
but
huge table.
I'm
Like,
worried
imagine
that's
having
not
enough
gonna
money
be
to have a garage with a drill.
strong enough. I don't want it to be too flexible. So I'm going to go ahead and use this actual piece of wood that I bought from the store, and going to make sure it goes all the way from each corner to each corner, and that should make the table a lot more rigid. Well, as you can see, the monitor is fit inside the table. I'm very happy with it. I've ordered a piece of tempered glass that's going to cover it up, but that's going to take a little while to arrive. So while that's happening, I'm going to need to... Now, I was pretty worried that freehanding this with the die grinder was going to be a disaster, so I did do some practicing first. But all in all, I only made a few very minor mistakes. I'd rate my performance of 17 out of 20.
I would have just spray painted it.
For the next bit of woodworking, I need to put a dado blade into my table saw. And no, that's not a dado blade, and no, that's not a table saw. There they are. Well, as I mentioned earlier, I actually don't do a lot of woodworking, and I've never made anything with box joints.
This guy. I find the closest thing to meaning in life comes from relationships with others. Alright. Hey, Brad, have you got any friends? No. Family? No. Girlfriend? No. Kids? No. Okay. The weight of the world isn't so heavy when we carry it. The loneliest man in the world. Talking to the loneliest man in the world.
Joints. So the first thing I'm going to need to do is build a jig, which is going to cut the fingers to form the box joints.
The most loneliest man in the world.
If you haven't guessed yet, these box joints are going to be holding the dice towers together. So I'm going to need to cut all the material. Then I need to cut the fingers.
Smart 8 is Italian, isn't he? I'm surrounded. I got 50,000 family members around me at all times.
into the edge of each piece of wood. Then I just need to glue all the
scares me so much that it gives me nightmares, this kind of advice. Scares me so badly.
Edge of each piece of wood.
Way too much anxiety for this kind of
work.
Rolling towers that people use.
So I'm gonna make 4 of these, and it's gonna go inside the table, which will slide down inside of it.
I like that
and it's got a magnet underneath, and then that's gonna stick it to the table so that it'll float above the open hole that it slides down into.
Honestly,
now
not a bad idea.
3 more. With the dice towers done for now, I wanted to move on to building some drawers for the ends of the table. One side is going to have a traditional drawer, and the other side is going to...
Mesmerized by the process.
Well, this was a royal pain, but I finally got it just about the way that I like it. But at the same time, it has to be adjusted just perfectly. And in fact, this one, it still isn't adjusted perfectly. There's a little bit of a lip down here, but I'm going to have to recut this piece, so I'm going to do that first, and then I'm going to make it perfect. After that, just have to do it 3 more times. Well, my custom tempered glass finally arrived.
Brad claiming he doesn't have friends. No, I do have. I've got good friends, but I don't have a lot of good friends in my town with me. I've got one. For me, it take a lot of effort to get ready for things. So when something get cancelled, I normally end up not doing much because my energy was ready for one thing. We know, Gary. I know your #1 trigger. I think we all do. At this point. When D&D gets cancelled. It's like a bullet to his nuts.
So now it was time to cut the reliefs and make it fit perfectly. Now, of course, having a monitor installed inside your table won't do you any good if you don't have a way to display things on it. I bought this cheap Slim Tower PC, which I'm now building brackets for, to install up underneath the table and keep it hidden away. And if you're going to have a computer installed, of course, you're going to need wires and power. One electrical outlet will be powering just the computer and hidden away, but these two are going to be exposed on the outside of the table so that the players can charge their phones and laptops. And to keep everything neat and tidy, of course, those wires need to be routed accordingly. All the wiring converges at a single box, which will then power the entire... To rate my overall satisfaction level, you guessed it. Well, the last thing to do before game day is to make some maps to play on. I've been using incarnate.com for a while now, and I really like it because it's very efficient and user-friendly. It doesn't take any time at all to build a map, which is great because my campaign uses a lot of them. This particular battle map here took me less than 5 minutes. And what about the gaming experience itself? In one word...
What's this?
Epic. This table makes a huge difference in gameplay. It makes...
Get that fucking bowl of pasta off my damn table. Get your bowl off my... Don't touch anything.
Makes it so much easier to communicate where the players are and what they're doing, and that means less downtime and a better overall experience for all the players.
Yeah, he's not dead yet.
He's not dead yet. All right. 20!
There
we go.
That's a nice looking camera. Look at this.
So, is that in the area?
Yeah, it's a 15
Every single
cone.
one takes 27?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I moved, so I didn't hit him. That's why I moved
Yeah.
over.
Just made me feel lonely, really. It just, all that video did was make me feel even more lonely and like I don't have any skills. Do you have any skills? You look lonely. Just play on the internet. Hi Newt, thanks for the 83 monther. Welcome in. Using metal dice, yeah. was gonna watch these. There are these videos of like Matt Mercer and other DMs chatting, and I want to watch them.
Really shitty
Like this.
homebrew game, and from a homebrew standpoint.
Motivated you to do that? Your first experiences with making your own settings, and like what motivated you to do that? Why has that been something you come back to over and over again?
Right. For me, ironically, I came into the game from a homebrew standpoint. Like when I was first introduced to the game, there weren't modules being run. The very first game I ever participated in as a player was a really, really shitty homebrew game, and inspired me to start dungeon mastering. So I was like, it has to be better than this. Like, this can't be the game everyone keep hearing about. And so I started running my own game with a few of my friends. And at the time, I really wasn't aware that modules were a thing. I just had the Dungeon Master's Guide, the Player's Handbook, and that was about it. And so it was like, okay, I guess I have to make up a world now. And it was a really terrible world. And everyone who starts in that amorphous void back then, especially, like, it's just not, it's not gonna be great. But I did later on when I realized there were modules, I was like, oh, that would have been so much easier from that point. And then I started reading through them and was like, okay, it's good to know that at least eventually, when I got more comfortable with my world building, I wasn't that far off from the kind of things that were being presented
I still
in
think
these
modules
modules.
are harder to run.
I think that's for those who want to do a homebrew world. If you haven't run a module, or at least haven't read modules, I recommend it because it does give you an idea of a general structure to prepare for sessions and the kind of things in the world you might want to create, in the world to be prepared for when these things come up. It's not by any means a blueprint because everything is its own.
When you have a module, I don't like not having the answer straight away to a question that a player has. So if someone says, where is the Red Keep in this city? And I go, and now I'm looking through the pages of the book to find the part where it tells me where the Red Keep is. I have failed. I have failed as a human being. Now I hate myself. The longer I take between a question and an answer, the worse, not as a DM I am, but as a person I am. I am a scum. I am failure. I should be better than this. I'm the worst person on the planet. Why are you even running this for these people? They hate you. You suck. Be better. So when I'm running modules, I have to read the whole module from front to back. And it's the most boring book of all time. A D&D module adventure is so boring until you're actually running it. And then it's brilliant. But it's just a fucking boring read. It's not like reading a Game of Thrones where you've got a structure and a fucking story and characters and shit. Because it's just a bunch of information, then a bit of story, then a bit of information, then a map, then a dungeon with just chambers and different things in the chambers. And I have to remember all of that stuff. And then I have to, when someone asks me, where's the Red Keep? I have to go, I know it's in the book somewhere around here. And I hate that feeling. So I hate not knowing everything. Whereas if I invented the whole game, if I invented the world, and I invented the town, and I invented the people in it, and I invented the adventure, and I invented the story, it's all in here. The book is my own brain. Yeah, I have loads of notes, and yeah, I will forget stuff over the fucking weeks and weeks and weeks of things. But the English or Spanish? Oh, I don't know. How could you figure it out? What do you mean English or Spanish? Why are you saying that? How on earth could you figure out whether I'm speaking English or Spanish right now? If I've invented it, it's already in my head. And also, I don't run into the issue of, okay, I don't have this invented. Oh, you're doing whoever moved first is gay. All right, the oldest meme in the world, by the way. It's like a 2-week, 3-week, 4-week-old meme. Longer than that. That's like a 2-month-old meme, dude. Come on, man. Also doesn't work in a Twitch chat. Only works if you have a fucking camera on someone in a fucking mall. If you invent it, then you can invent it in the moment. So if someone says, where's the red keep? And you go, well, I haven't written that down yet. You get to go, oh, it's on the western edge of town. There is sort of an intersection. And it's there. So now, look how quickly I had the answer. So like, that's generally my main problem with running a module. Comes down to a pure control issue, psychotic DM thing. But I hate it. I hate it. So with a module, I have to study it. And after every week, I have to study it. Now, running a short thing or a one-shot or something is a lot more doable for me. If I pull up one of these, like, let me just try and find one for you. Can I just open it in this window, I wonder? Wizard in a Bottle by MT Black. This is 11 pages that I have to learn. I'll read this in 3 minutes. This is all I need to know. I can read the whole thing. Who are my characters? What's going on? What's the plot twist at the end that matters? That's fine. And I can hack this to bits into whatever I need it to be. But a full-blown D&D fucking book? How, dude? Oh, right. Your players ask detailed questions about the story and world. Mine not so much. Oh, I guess there is that element as well. I do have good players because we manually handpick them from a group of incredible people every time we run a campaign, whereas you are desperately clutching at any random people that you find on the street, beckoning them in with promises of food and shelter as you summon 5 homeless people into your game. Last night I gave them an encrypted Imperial datapad that resonated with the Force, and they were like, oh, okay, chucked it in the trunk. Horrific. The plot twist is they were in space the whole time. I'm happy that some people prefer modules because that means I have a job. Yeah, I mean, I'm not in any way shitting on modules. Modules are great. I source a lot of inspiration from modules. I read a lot of modules, but I struggle to run them because I feel restricted in what I can manifest and create in the moment. Because obviously you can just make it up, but then you will run into a plot hole later on. You know, when you're like, the Red Keep is in the west of the town, and then it turns out that, you know, in 100 pages from now, it's a huge and important plot point that the Red Keep is on the east of town, on a hill. And you're fucked now, aren't you? And that's what I end up doing with myself. I just shoot myself in the foot constantly. Practice? What did you mean? Practice like reading them? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've tried. I've run several modules, but I like that. So the way I do Oracle's Rest is I populate a board, a quest board, and each of those quests is just a PDF that I've downloaded from the Adventurers League. And then when the time comes and they pick that quest, I then run that short, the short module. It's a very short module. It's almost a one-shot. So, you know, they're usually only a few pages long, like 30 pages max. So similar to the thing that I just showed. That thing that was on the screen was a one-shot. They're usually a little bit longer than that with a little more detail. But those are, to be confusing with terminology, modular. The Adventurers League stuff tends to have episodes, so you can do that one quest, but often you'll find that there are 5 parts, 10 parts, 30 parts to that entire thing. But what you won't do is run into problems where if you run part 1 of that Adventurers League module, you won't run into a plot hole later on because they're not built that way. It's not one big book. It was 30 separate PDFs that they put out over the course of a long amount of time. So all you do is present the information in part 1, and if they ever get to part 20, you've not fucked it up. So I like doing it that way. That way I don't have to read all 30 parts. Enzo really said shut up. No, he just always says he's always talking about PUBG. That's all he talks about. He's like me, but it's PUBG. I don't know what any of you are. It's just Newt is just replying to every single message in the chat room, and that confused me so much. This is now just Newt's personal WhatsApp group with her friends. Curse of Strahd, Whack-Ren Curse of Strahd. To be honest, Curse of Strahd I've looked at and read a few times. Looks good in the structure. Do I have it? But it's 258 pages long. Gonna crash, isn't it? But look at this. This is what you say. This is what it is. A massive wall juts out to connect the outer walls of the castle with the keep. A 20-foot wide, 20-foot wall archway offers a passage through the connecting wall, but is blocked by rusting iron portcullis. Then the players have the opportunity to question some of this, but what you're dealing with as a DM, the portcullis is unlocked and can be lifted with a successful strength check. It can also be opened with this way, that way, and any other way that players get creative. And this is great for if you don't want to write all of this every fucking week. It's exhausting, man. Running campaigns for players, putting loads of effort into it, coming up with a new puzzle, coming up with a room, coming up with a dungeon, manifesting some fucking examples, some artwork, creating a battle map, recreating a token, getting a music, getting sounds. The whole thing is so much work. It's unbelievable. You know, only for players to be like, I'm probably going to be about 10 minutes late and I need to leave 30 minutes early and I'm probably going to be eating the whole time and like probably just going to be on my phone. I am that player as well. Not in any way saying that I'm not. But when you're the DM, you're like, you do all this stuff. So if you just want it laid out for you like this, It's great. And there are also people who aren't creative exactly, and I don't mean that as a slight, but they're just not, but they do enjoy running D&D and providing that experience. And if you aren't the type of person who is an improv master or is not interested in improving, or you're not creative, you're not interested in manifesting the experience your own way, telling your own story, telling your own adventure, creating your own puzzles, creating your own portcullis, creating all of that stuff, but you do want to have that experience, and you love the experience of DMing, and you love the experience of running your players through this thing and all this kind of stuff, this is great for it. Absolutely great. I've got no problem with modules or anything here, but for me it feels like studying, because I've got to learn all of this stuff just in case someone asks me what's at the center court gate, but they asked me on fucking page 18. I'm bad at it. But the thing is, one of my strengths is being able to improvise and create on the fly. So it's not a big deal for me that I'm not good at running modules, and I'm not interested in running modules, and I find them to be frustrating and difficult to run, because I just get overwhelmed with how much information I need to study for and learn. But it does feel like I spend so much. When you're homebrewing, you have to write the whole thing and prepare the whole thing, and it's hard to do. Oracles is very good for that for me. Do you know what else is fucking great for it? Is ChatGPT. Running this fucking Sunday game where I just have ChatGPT generate. I mean, to be honest, pretty shit. In terms of a body of work. If I presented The Legend of Gary, and I don't mean it as in presented what happened and the story and stuff, but just like the dungeons and stuff. This dungeon wasn't too bad, the one that we just went on in The Legend of Gary, where he went underground, the Djinn dungeon, was actually quite a good one, but I think the prompt I put in for it was quite detailed, because I'm getting a little better at prompting it. So I guess, it's the same thing with any AI thing. If you prompt it correctly, you'll probably get better results. But I would never run an entire campaign from ChatGPT. There's just no way it's good enough. Hacking an adventurers league or running a module, I would still rather do than literally just show up with nothing but ChatGPT on a screen. But I've been pleasantly surprised with some, the ability to do it, because I don't have time to prep, the Cura and prep The Legend of Gary, and then potentially prep Oracle's Rest or something else. I don't have the time. I definitely don't have the spoons for it. So being able to show up and just go, ChatGPT, generate me a dungeon with 5 chambers and an undead djinn at the end of it, and that kind of thing. The djinn I had to make myself. I made it at the end of the last session, but the dungeon and the little puzzle. I mean, I hack those puzzles live and on the fly, and they're nowhere near good enough for a puzzle that I would present players, because it's not what I like about. I like puzzles to be an actual thing that they solve rather than a skill check. Most puzzles in D&D, in most modules and PDFs and things, are a skill check. I've noticed. You walk into a room, there is a golden basset hound sitting on a jade plinth. It looks like you can move the basset hound, turning it left and right in 90 degree angles. What do you do? And they go in and they move the basset hound one way and it burns them. So they go, okay, I make an investigation check, and they make an investigation check, and they figure it out, and then you have to move the it's not the hound that you move, it's the plinth itself. So you move the jade plinth, the cube underneath the basset hound, and that's what unlocks the door, and you can move through on a DC 12 investigation check success. And that's puzzles for the most part in D&D, which is fine. it's a nice little filler moment. It's you pepper those in a dungeon, pepper those in you know, around rooms and things. It gives players things to do. It gives players the chance to roll dice. It makes them feel like they've achieved something or not. If they fail, it gives you some buffers time, because you don't want to just be you don't want it to just be like combat after combat after combat, so you want little things to put around. But for me, I like to just hand a toy box over to my players and then just shut the fuck up. I love going, here are the elements, here are a bunch of tokens you can move, here is a bunch of, if it was in real life, I would love to be able to just hand them a fucking whole bunch of shit. Here are some gems, here is a bunch of shit over here, here's some walls. I did a really quick one in the last episode of Cura. This is a bit of a spoiler, but not really. It's just the puzzle where there was just a bunch of stuff written on the walls, and a bunch of gems on the ground, and a bowl in the middle of the room, and 2 doors that they could go through. One that had Manticore and one that had Chimera over it. And in D&D there are 2 creatures. One's called a Manticore, one's called a Chimera. The Manticore has got like the head of a fucking lion, the body of a dragon, the fucking tail of a snake or something like that. Goat's legs or something like that. And the Chimera has got 3 heads, a dragon head, a goat head, and a human head or something like that. And the puzzle is very quick and very simple. I didn't want any of these. This was a one-shot, so I wanted to make sure that they slam through these rooms. Boom, boom, boom. You know, this doesn't need to be the longest puzzle ever. I'm happy to sit there for 2 hours on a puzzle if it doesn't feel like, you know, as long as they're having fun. But, you know, all they had to do was look at the writings on the wall, what gems correlated which body parts, and then they throw the appropriate gems into the bowl for either the Chimera or the Manticore, and they get one choice. They can do one or the other. But I like handing them all the stuff. Here's all of the bits of the puzzle, and then I hands off. I'm now not there. You solve it with your brains, not your character's brain. And I understand there's some dissonance there and stuff, but I think it's more fun. You're engaged. You're in there. You're in the toy box playing around. You use your brains. You can talk out of... I encourage them to talk out of character, to solve this thing out of character. Break the fucking 4th wall for a moment. Figure it out as my 4 friends playing this game. The 5 of us are enjoying this experience together. This isn't about, you know, can Thrak, the super smart one with a 20 int, figure this out? Of course he can. You could roll a dice for that and we just burn through this room. But I think it's more fun to have actual people experiencing this thing. So that's how I like to do puzzles a lot of the time. But every single one of those puzzles is the hardest thing I had to prep that week for me. They're so hard to make, and to make unique, and to make different every time, and to then skin them to fit into whatever dungeon or room or prison or town or mountain or wherever the fuck they are, cave they're in. Just justifying it being there and stuff. Originally there was, you know what, actually that's a spoiler, I won't say that. So, but for me they're really hard to make. They take me ages to sit and come up with. Because you're developing a game, you're a game developer and you're having to come up with just puzzles. That's why I don't like God of War, where you just throw the fucking hammer at everything, whatever it is, the axe at everything. Just repeatedly throwing that fucking axe at shit. As a game developer myself, coming up with puzzles every single week, I take it personally that it wasn't creative, original, and unique to the previous experience. Dying Order was the turning point for me with that, because I realized that all of my players just wanted puzzles. That's all they wanted. They didn't want combat. They didn't want the fucking story. They didn't care about anything other than the puzzles. I put puzzles in front of them and they were having the best time of their lives. Now I have to make a new puzzle every fucking week, and now there's a puzzle in every single episode of Dying Order for the next fucking 6 months. But it taught me to make puzzles. Taught me how to make them and how to make them, and that I could. And that they wouldn't just be dog shit like the one that I put in Darkfire that everyone attacks me for. I'm more famed for the fucking Darkfire puzzle because I didn't mention that the hole in the room was large enough to fit through than I am for the hundreds of puzzles that I've made since then that went really smoothly. It was a great lesson to learn. I learned a good lesson that day, and it made me very paranoid about how I present puzzles from now on. But that's the one that everyone remembers. Brad's shit at puzzles. I actually think I'm pretty good at them now. It's kind of it's fun. The meme about me being shit at puzzles is hilarious because of that one day where I was just like, fuck, so inexperienced, such a little baby. No idea how to present puzzles. But I think it actually made me good at them. I think my puzzles kind of go pretty well now. And again, I'm not talking about the puzzles where you just roll an investigation check, because the other thing I've noticed as well is that when I'm looking for puzzles online, they all suck. Because no one wants to make puzzles the way that I make them, where you put something in front of your players that they all figure out, and you don't need to be rolling dice or checks. You don't need to be there for it at all as a DM. You present them all of the things that are in the puzzle room, and then you just shut the fuck up, and they all sit there and figure it out themselves, which is just, I think it's the best way to run a puzzle in D&D. That's so much more engaging, so much more fun, that, you know. And certain people prefer puzzles to combat and improv or roleplay, or, you know. So, and figuring out how to do that correctly was it was born out of the pure trauma of presenting the worst puzzle ever. Presenting a good puzzle in the worst way ever is what happened. And then Dying Order was me figuring out how to present those puzzles. There was one day in Dying Order where they had like a room that were different colors, and they represented like the different seasons or something. And I think that one, wherever I remember presenting them puzzles, and then eventually I presented them that one, and I think that by that point I had figured it out. I'd figured out how to present these kinds of puzzles to parties. But I spend hours poring over other campaigns, poring over like White Plume Mountain and Tomb of Annihilation, and these huge dungeon modules that are just filled with chambers with puzzles in, and all of them are like skill check rooms. The floor is lava, DC 15 dexterity saving throw. The Basset Hound is golden, investigation check. None of them are these puzzles that I'm describing. Reddit has a lot more of these kinds of puzzles. There are a lot of good like door puzzles and stuff. But I also find that I would go so far as to say 50% of puzzles come with a riddle, or some sort of riddle, or something similar to a riddle. And I can't do riddles. I can't do riddles as a statement is correct. I'm not good at them. I can never figure them out. I'm not good at that kind of thinking. But what I mean is I can never present them with riddles because there is a chat room. And the moment I present a fucking puzzle with a riddle in it, everyone in the chat room is written in block capitals. A river, a river, a river. It's a river. The answer is a river. So I had to learn how to do puzzles without riddles. But riddles are a huge thing in D&D. It's a person. What has a bed but never sleeps, you know? It's a river, and it's crazy. Had a puzzle once where they all had to do was close 2 doors in a chamber. And yeah, there's loads of those online as well. The most successful puzzle in Dying Order was that the door was unlocked. They weren't fucking crazy. I just went, there's a door in front of you. But there is not a lot of puzzles online. And there is not a lot of puzzles in modules and in D&D books and stuff that present puzzles in the way that I do it and I want to present them. And I think after all this time, I actually think I've gotten quite good at it. And on top of that, presenting it correctly. The thing with a puzzle is, it's one thing to write a puzzle and to be Mr. Intelligent and come up with a cool puzzle and something interesting and unique. And, you know, there are colored gems, or there's a riddle, or it's an anagram, or it's a, you know, it's a math problem of some kind. Yeah, sure. You've come up with it. You figured out how to make that a thing, whether you provide them with handouts or a battle map or tokens or something for them to interact with, or whether it's just a block of text or something, whatever it is, you give them all that stuff. But presenting it is also very key, which was my Darkfire problem. In Darkfire, I presented them a puzzle, but I didn't explain well enough the elements that they could interact with. I think one thing is that I relied on telling them. Now you'll notice that almost all of my puzzles, I give them a handout, and when they scroll down in that handout, it has all the information there for them to pore over and read themselves. Because if you say it and just expect people to remember things, that's insane. Not everyone's brain works that way. Not everyone just has a fucking, you know, a memory that is able to take in information and regurgitate it immediately. I don't. So 2 or 3 elements are what you want to put in front of them. And by that I mean, don't overcomplicate anything. Just go like, there is a door, it is locked. There is some writing on the walls. There are some gems on the ground. That's it. That's the puzzle. How do they interface? How do they interact with each other? And have they got all of the information in front of you? Now you have to start string theorying at what questions are they going to ask. Present that in a way that no matter how simplistic or no matter how complicated you present it, regardless, they have the handout, they have the information in front of them, that they can now take those puzzle pieces and stick them together to make the answer. And now you've got to come up with new ones every fucking week, or, you know, not every week, but whenever. And I've been doing it now for a couple of years. As someone who was staunchly against puzzles, I hate solving them. You will notice that every single one of my characters doesn't solve puzzles. I love presenting puzzles to my players, and lots of my players love solving puzzles and having fun with those puzzles. The entire cast of Dying Order. Aaron in Oracle's Rest. I know if I put a fucking puzzle in front of Aaron, he has such a great time with it. I love watching his little eyes light up and he starts piecing it together. There are certain people in Oracle's Rest who couldn't give a fuck. They just fuck off. They go play Hearthstone until the puzzle's solved. All good. I'm that player too. Go watch Spellwind. Every single time Myth put a puzzle in front of us, my character was smoking in a corner. And they were like, hey, can you help us, Ty? And Ty'd be like, fuck off. I don't like them. I don't like puzzles. I don't like Sudoku. I don't like word searches. I do crosswords on my iPad sometimes, just as to stave off the Alzheimer's. I try not to contribute. Yeah, but that's different. I mean, but it doesn't matter. So, I mean, Whack thinks he's this like Mensa level intellect, but honestly, sometimes he's like, I'm not going to help in this puzzle because I've already solved it. The answer is 4. And I go, no, it isn't. And he goes, oh, well, and then they all have to figure it out. And the answer was the color red, because Wax Stevens' perfectly logical Mensa brain can't handle the insanity and chaos that was my brain that created the puzzle. And ultimately the answer is 4, but I fucked it up. And now the answer is red. And he can't calculate that sometimes. So actually you can get involved in the puzzles a lot of the time because it's not always logic based. Because I'm a chaos gremlin and I'm not very smart in that way. Which is difficult as well. It's difficult coming up with puzzles a lot of the time because they do have to be quite logical most of the time. And I am a logical person, but I'm not a very smart person when it comes to that kind of smarts, that book smarts. I'm not putting myself down. I just know my limits. I'm not that kind of a smart knowledge person. I'm a smart person in many other ways. But I'm not very good at, and it's hard as well because sometimes you will create a puzzle that you think is bulletproof and then you put it in front of 10 other people or an entire chat room of people, and you have to have been smart enough to present something like that to a lot of people, and most of my friends are much smarter than I am. And again, I'm not putting myself down. That's just straight up fact. Maya, Whack, Aaron, all of them are much like PB. They're like geniuses. And I am not as smart as them. If you just put us all in a test room, I'd probably be one of the last ones out for that kind of smarts and that kind of knowledge. So it's quite daunting to create puzzles for a lot of my friends who are on Table Story or on Oracle's Rest or whatever, and who I run games for. But, you know, again, this is my point here, and I've been kind of rambling about puzzles for a long time, and I think a lot of you have probably heard me rant about this before, but the point that I was making originally is that I've forgotten my point, and I don't want to talk about it anymore because I became self-aware. No, the puzzles are usually the part of the DMing process that took me the longest that week in my prep. I can pretty much at this point come up with combat encounters with my eyes closed. Trying to make combat encounters more interesting is a whole different conversation, I think, which I've been trying to do. And one of the things that I struggle with is that my brain, I can't remember everything going on. The last combat encounters that I did in Cura, I tried to have environmental effects on a table, so when they rolled for initiative, I also rolled another dice for a random environmental effect to take place, whether it be smog comes down and obscures everyone's view the whole time, or there were exploding corpses on the ground that you have to avoid, and they're, you know, like just a new dimension to combat that isn't just you're standing in front of the enemy, hit the enemy hits you, you hit the enemy hits you. But the thing with D&D is that, like, there's a lot of dimensions to combat, especially when you get to higher levels anyway, because there's so many things going on. Even if it is just you hit the enemy and they hit you, well, you've got a wizard that's got 40 fucking spells that are doing crazy things that are affecting this combat anyway. So even, you know, you trying to be creative and adding in environmental effects, or I don't know, other levels of elevation or lava or whatever you're adding, can actually kind of just overcomplicate something which is honestly too complicated anyway. D&D combat, or a lot of TTRPG combat. You look at like Lancer. Pathfinder looks kind of confusing to me as well. Whack is now furiously typing how Pathfinder is superior in every way, but doesn't matter. That it is, they're all confusing because there's so many layers to it, and especially when it comes to spellcasting and things. I mean, look at a druid. A druid is so annoying. You've got all these different CR level things, and the different, you know, the flying ones can't be used until level 8, and the fucking swimming ones can't be used till level 4, and you're also a spellcaster, and you're retaining your stats from when you're normal versus what stats you carry over as an animal. It's very complex. It's very confusing. Now, it can be simple because you only got to learn your class. It's not druid slander. It's just what I mean is that there are many different layers. A druid is, I think, the difference between a champion fighter and a wizard is massive because of spellcasting. Spellcasting is very... If you pick up D&D today for the first time and you're playing a level 20 wizard, how the fuck are you going to explain anything? Anything. You got to explain everything from the ground up. Every single one of those spells, what the meaning on those spells is, actions, bonus actions, reactions, spell slots, spell level, character level. It's insane. Now add in class actions and abilities, so change that from a level 20 wizard to a level 20 sorcerer or something, and now you've got meta magic and all that kind of bullshit added in on top of it. First time playing D&D, it's so much more confusing than if you are playing a champion fighter who has to hit something. Now you've only got to explain AC, damage, and proficiency. But a druid is even more annoying because you also are now playing a monster. And by monster, I mean like a creature from the monster manual. You are now having to learn not just the same things that any fighter would learn, where you can hit stuff. You've got to learn the AC, you've got to learn proficiencies, you've got to learn saving throw. What the fuck does that mean? You've not only got to learn spells. What does your spell mean? What is a spell level? Why is it called a spell level? So is that the same as my character level? No? Okay. So what's a spell slot? That's different to a spell level? Okay. You got to learn all of that. You got to learn what they mean. You got to learn when you can cast them. You got to learn what the fucking wall of text on that spell means. But you can also turn into a creature. You can turn into a beast of any number of different things. Okay, which beasts can I turn into? Well, you can turn into beasts of up to CR2. What the fuck does that mean? Okay, so I can turn into beasts of a... now, beast is a tag. That's a specific term that's being used here for a reason. You can't turn into a monstrosity. You can only turn into beasts. Okay, well, I can now turn into a beast. So now that's your character sheet. You retain some of the stats from this character sheet, but here is another fucking piece of paper which has got all of the beast stats on it. These are the things you can do in beast form. However, if you need to make an intelligence saving throw, you take it from this other fucking sheet. Druids are the most confusing fucking thing in the whole game. And that's not including the fact that there are different types of fucking druids that get different accesses to different CRs of stuff. Depending on the level you are. You might have access to different beasts. So it's not slander. I just think druids are the most complex and confusing class to play of all the classes, especially if you have no idea what's going on. I want to play a druid next. I might play a druid in whatever D&D game I'm in next. Just because they confuse me so badly. And I want to go... But Brad, have you seen the new 2024 the druid? They changed it to bonus action. Shut the fuck up right now. If you mention 2024 druids to me, I will watch this whole video.
Yeah, to build a DM screen with a built-in display. So I went on the internet.
We were watching this video and I went on a rant for an hour.
Confirm what a brilliant and unique idea this was.
Kelly, you genius.
He's back, baby.
Discovered that I was absolutely not the first person to think of this, and it has been done many times before. However, it seemed like almost all of them had been made using power tools. Because many people don't have access to a wood shop, I decided to challenge myself to build this using only 3 simple tools, the cost of which would be included in the budget. The first step was to measure everything and then make a plan. I wanted to make the inside of the screen fit 4 sheets of 8.5 by 11 inch paper, so I made the dimensions of the center panel 18 inches by 12 inches and the 2 side panels 9 inches by 12 inches. But that turned out to be my first mistake. After receiving the wood panels and measuring them, I found out that they're actually 30 centimeters by 30 centimeters instead of 12 inches by 12 inches. 30 centimeters is 11 and 13/16 inches, and I just didn't want to deal with all those fractions. So, unwillingly, I switched to the metric system. I redid all of my measurements, and I didn't have to deal with any fractions. You know, they might be onto something with this whole metric thing. The sides are half the width of the front, so it'll fold together and close for...
They're releasing the next D&D. Yeah, the 2024 one though, right? It's just 5e new. 5e changes. Not 6e. Or are they releasing 6e? They can't possibly be, otherwise they wouldn't have done any of this stuff with 5e.
Storage. There are cutouts in the back of the center panel to access the ports.
I don't care. I might learn it, I might not. I'm going to see how I feel on the day it lands in my lap.
Buttons on the monitor. With my plans done twice, I moved on to the cutting. I grabbed some cardboard and a scrap piece of plywood so that I wouldn't cut into my floor and started measuring and cutting. Just a tip here, when lining up and cutting on your mark, err on the side of making your opening for the monitor bigger. It's alright if the opening is a little bigger than the monitor because we'll be using some foam tape to keep the monitor in place. It's better to have the opening be too big than too small. I would recommend cutting the front and back pieces last once you've had some practice with the inside pieces. The front and back pieces are the only ones that'll be seen in the end, so they're the only ones that need to look nice. After finally finishing all the cutting, I put the pieces together and discovered the next issue. It turns out when you make a bunch of imprecise cuts by hand, they are imprecise. So everything didn't quite line up. Don't worry though, we'll fix this later. As long as the monitor fits inside, you can press on. If it doesn't fit, it's easier to do some trimming at this point rather than after you glue. Onward, gluing is next. I'm using some wood flooring glue that I had lying around, but you can use any wood glue. Layer by layer, just add the glue to the pieces and then place them down. We're going to glue the back pieces and all of the middle pieces together, but not the front yet, and I'll tell you why in a minute. You can slide the pieces around a little to spread the glue out before lining it up. Once you have all your layers in place, do one last check to make sure the layers are lined up. Wait until the glue becomes tacky before adding your weights, otherwise the layers could slide out of alignment. You can also take this opportunity to wipe away any excess glue with a damp cloth. Now you're going to need some heavy things.
Knew I got these for a reason.
I used my scrap piece of plywood and cardboard to help disperse the weight and then let it dry overnight. Now to find out, will the monitor actually fit inside?
Ooh, moment of truth here.
Mine just fits, which is perfect. But if yours doesn't, don't panic. You can either trim the insides with your knife or sand them down using some sandpaper. The insides are all lined up on mine.
Why did he do it like that? Why did he layer them up? Why didn't he just buy a thicker bit of wood? Because he had to cut it by hand? Yeah, D&D remaster, innit? The D&D remaster. 5e remaster. Wait, so is D&D 1 the 5e remaster or not? I'm so confused. Yeah, it is. This takes what we love about 5th edition and updates the rules of the game to reflect feedback we've heard. I mean, this is fine. I think. We'll see. I don't know if my brain can relearn. I almost wish it was just 6e and it was totally different.
But the outside edges are all over the place. We're gonna fix this by sanding down the edges. I'm using 150 grit sandpaper and a wood block to make sure I sand straight. If you just hold the sandpaper in your fingers without the wood block, you're most likely going to end up with a wavy edge. If you don't have a wood block, you can tape together some of your offcuts. This stuff sands down super easily, so it didn't take long to get a nice flat edge. I did make a mistake here though, and it is going to haunt me later. Now these next steps are a lot of work and they aren't strictly necessary, but they do make the finished product look so much better. Staining and varathaning will make this cheap craft wood look less cheap and crafty. It's not going to make it look like expensive
That's
hardwood,
also true,
but I think
Gabe.
it really takes
I've
it to the
learned
next
so
level.
much
For the
about
stain,
druids
I used a
already.
water-based dark cherry stain made by Sanson that I got from a local hardware store. You can get them in little tester cans, which is more than enough for this project. You can use any stain you like, but I'm pretty happy with the color of this one. Once you apply some to an offcut and you're happy with the color, you can go ahead and apply it. Just make sure to wipe the wood down with a wet cloth first to remove any dust. The closer we get to the end of this project, the higher the stakes, because any mistake we make now will probably show up on the finished product. I really hope I don't mess this up. Grab an old shirt or a bed sheet to use as a rag and wipe the stain on as evenly as you can.
Bed sheet? An old shirt? Or a whole fucking bed sheet? What the fuck? Like, man, you got a little rag that you found that you're just like wiping it down. You look over and there's a guy with a fucking double bedspread. A bed sheet.
Working as quickly as you can. Water-based stain dries quite quickly, so you want to get an even coating over the whole face before it dries. If some of it dries and then you wipe over it again, you'll get darker patches. If you've never used stain before, I would definitely recommend putting a few coats on to some offcuts to experiment with what works best for you. At this point, we're just doing the faces and the inside edges of the front pieces. We'll do the rest of the edges later, and you'll see why. I went with one coat of stain, except on the front panel, because I was trying to cover up a mistake with a second coat. I forgot to do the inside edges of the front face and then tried to carefully go over them again, but it left a dark streak where my cloth touched the front face. The second coat didn't fully cover the mistake, but it made it less noticeable. Ideally, just get everything on the first coat. Now for the Varathane. I did 2 coats of a water-based Varathane using a foam brush. This will help seal in the stain and make the whole thing a bit more durable. Wipe off the wood with a damp cloth to get rid of any dust.
By the way, I'm curious. I'm an old man. Alright, it's either this or World War documentaries. This is it. White man, divorced dad TV. What you watching? Some sort of building something. Ancient megastructures. Megastructures. Some sort of bloke building some bullshit. Staining some wood. Or driving a car around. Or you watch World War documentaries. You pick one. What type of old white divorced man are you going to be when you grow up?
Again, try and make the coats as even as possible and use longer brush strokes at the end to wipe away buildup. I would recommend using a light at an angle so you can easily see any imperfections on the surface. You should lightly sand the surface between coats using something like a 600 grit sandpaper and then wipe away any dust with a damp cloth. I didn't because I didn't think it was important and I found out
I like watching people make things because I never will. I'm too afraid of most power tools.
Important, and I'll show you why in a minute.
As soon as one is in my hand, I'm like, I want to drill my own head out with it.
But don't skip this step.
Second coat done.
Once all the faces are stained and Varathaned, it's time to seal in the monitor. Add some foam tape to the back of the monitor and place it inside. Now take your wood glue and carefully apply it around the edge of the monitor.
Here goes nothing. Or everything, I guess.
Being careful not to get too close to either edge. Then place your front face pieces on top, carefully lining everything up. Wait until the glue becomes tacky, and then once again weight it down with your plywood and heavy things. Once that's dry, we're going to do another sand on the edges. The reason we didn't stain or Varathane the edges before was so that we could sand the edges at the end once the front face panels were on to make sure the edges line up. Once you're happy with the edges, you can repeat the same steps as before to stain and Varathane the edges. As I began applying my stain to the edges, I realized the big mistake I had made earlier during my initial sanding of the edges. I had some excess glue runoff and I didn't sand all the way through it. Stain isn't going to soak into dry wood glue, which means I have light colored patches along the edges. At this point, I could have stopped and sanded the edges again, sanding off the stain I had applied and through the excess wood glue. But I didn't, and I have a very good reason for that. I just didn't want to. And then I made another critical mistake here, one that I can't fix, but I'll show you how I've covered it up on the finished product.
Why do they all lie? Why do they have to lie at the top of it? It doesn't matter. You don't have to lie. Just say I made it with these tools. I only made it with these 3 tools. Now you've lied. Just say you made it. It was 56 tools. It doesn't affect the video in any way, whether you used 3 tools or 56 for me.
After Varathaning the edges, I laid the piece down directly on the cardboard. some Varathane ran off and pooled underneath, sticking to the back edge and leaving some nasty marks. If I did this again, I would just elevate the center of the panel on some cardboard or wood so that the edges were suspended in the air while it dried. Seeing all the pieces stained and Varathaned and the monitor sitting so nicely in the middle made me so excited and powered me through to the end of this build. Although, this is where I noticed that the Varathane on the front panel had quite a bumpy texture to it, and it catches the light in a weird way. This is why it's important to sand in between coats of Varathane and then wipe it off with a damp cloth to remove any dust. I've learned my lesson for the future. The last steps are to screw in the hinges, add the little corner decorations, add some adhesive magnets to the back, which also cover up those Varathane marks, and fire it up. After putting on the hinges and finding out that it just closes, I realized that making the side panels exactly half the width of the front panel doesn't leave any room for error. I've revised the plans in the description to make the side panels 22.25 centimeters wide instead to ensure there's a gap in the middle. The finishing touches are these decorative corner pieces that I put on with super glue. These little touches and details really elevate it and make it look finished. Now to plug it in and turn it on. I chose this monitor because it's USB-C, which means I can power it and send an image to it using just one cable. These little right-angle USB-C adapters fit in the spaces that we cut out to keep everything tidy and cable. These little right-angle USB-C adapters fit in the spaces that we cut out to keep everything.
You know, I was considering having Mistlight 2 have this. The sunrise. Because Mistlight had like a moon nighttime. Mistlight 2. What if it has a sunrise? Huh? No? No one cares?
Right angle USB-C adapters fit.
We don't know the story, bro. That's why you have to do it. Oh, right.
In the spaces that we cut out to keep everything tidy and compact. So why the heck would you even want to do this, and what would you use it for? Well, here are 4 ways I'm going to use it, and I'll walk through the software I'm going to use to run it as well. Because dragging a bunch of windows around and leaning over the top of the screen to see what you're doing is not practical. First up is initiative tracking. Some people have really cool initiative trackers on top of their screens, or they ask one of their players to manage initiative. But because I use improved initiative to run combat, it's super easy to put the player view up on the screen for everyone to see. And as I advance the order on
I zoomed in and I still can't read it.
my screen, it automatically updates. That way my players can see when their turn is coming up and where everyone else is in the order. You can do this with any initiative tracker that has a player view. I found that this next thing really increases immersion for my players, and this display makes it so much easier. Showing my players cool art of the monsters that they're fighting is something that I really like doing. Before, I used to turn my laptop around to show them at the beginning of combat, or print some images out and hang them on the back of my screen. But now I can create an image slideshow of monster art that will play alongside my initiative tracker for the whole combat. Using a soundboard to create a soundscape has helped me elevate my descriptions, but now I can also pair that with animations or videos of landscapes to help
he's
set
running
the theme.
Mistlight,
There
dude,
are
look.
tons of ambiance videos on YouTube with animated landscapes or long videos that you can run on the screen to make the environment feel more real. Whether your players are weathering a storm on the open sea or marching through a beautiful old growth forest, putting up some environments on the screen has been really fun. If you've ever had a DM screen, you might find you get tired of the art that's on the front. It's fun to have art that directly pertains to the campaign you're playing, but you don't want to necessarily go out and buy a new DM screen for every new campaign. So even if you don't want to use the screen for anything else that I've gone over, you can find some cool art or a looping animation and leave that.
I'll just have a picture of my own cock. That's what they have to look at. I would be standing behind the DM screen, but what it would have on the other side of the DM screen is a small camera that is directly pointed at my naked legs and dick. So I'd still be standing there and it'd be as if it was just completely see-through, and that's what I would have. Alright, see you later. I think I'm not gonna stream tomorrow. Just I'm still not feeling 100%, and I'd like to be 100% for Cura because it's more important to me than anything else I do in the week. So I'm gonna take the day off tomorrow and just work on Cura stuff and relax and not burn through my spoons. Yeah, Wednesday I think we'll get on with Mass Effect again. So if you wanna watch that, I'll see you then. I'm guessing no one does because it's been a month. And I've destroyed myself. Probably should just play a different game, but we'll see. We'll see how I feel. All right, thanks for watching, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I know this was another non-stream, but you know what is a stream? You figure it out. Bye.